Welcome back to Surviving and Thriving, where we share with you the things that we have learned as we have transitioned our family from struggling to survive disease to thriving right smack dab in the midst of it, in the hopes that something that we share with you will help you, enlighten you, and encourage you as you transition your family from struggling to survive disease to thriving right smack dab in the midst of it. Well, welcome to the new year. I hope it's good for you. There's a lot of good people and a lot of bad people who didn't make it into the new year, who wanted to make it into the new year. So I hope your new year is going good for you. But by chance, if you're in a struggle, if this is a dark season, a sad season, a grieving season for you, be not dismayed. Because the mere fact that you made it in and you're still breathing and you're alive means your season can change. Okay? So you hang in there and still be grateful in the midst of where you're at because you know that as long as there's breath, right? Things can change and you're still alive to be able to experience that change. Those who didn't make it aren't here, so they can't experience a change. So we praise God for the chance, the opportunity to be able to experience a change. So hang in there, be encouraged, be strong, and be courageous. And if you're in a good spot in a good season right now, I celebrate with you. Hang in there, keep that joy. Don't let nobody take it from you because life will come sometime in these 365 days for this next year. Life is going to come at you and it's going to try to steal that joy, and you need to hang on to that joy and that strength and that peace that you're experiencing right now. So enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride, wherever you at. Enjoy it this year, okay? Because you still have chance, you still have opportunity. So we're going to talk a little bit. Just want to share some wisdom with you real quick. Is that okay? Just for the new year, and then we'll try to make it quick and be out of here. So we have minutes, right? We have hours, and hours can be broken down, right? Into 15-minute increments or however you want to break it down. We have a 24-hour cycle, which we call a day, okay? And then those 24-hour cycles give us a 7-day week. And those 7-day weeks, right? You have those weeks, you get these 4 weeks, and those 4 weeks give us a month. And those weeks, the cycles for the days is determined by the sunset and the sun rising, the moon setting, right? And then you have a month. And we can judge our months. And back in the day, before they had all these calendars, they judged their months by the moon, by the full moon and by the new moon, right? And so we have these cycles. We have a monthly cycle, right? And then you have your year, and your year can be broken down into quarters, right? And then you have your year. And then from there, we have what? We have you have your 10-year increments, your 20-year increments. So you go from there, right? All the way up to your millennials. Well, why are we talking about all of that? You already know all of that. Well, we're talking about that because this year I want you to look at those time cycles a little bit differently. So every year, everybody talk about, do your resolutions for the new year. What changes you're going to make. All these things that they want to do. And a lot of times, you guys, some of those things are pretty superficial, right? They're not really, they have no real value, no real importance. You know what I mean? You might set a goal, I'm going to get me 4 pair of these kind of shoes. I'm going to get that. That stuff doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there, right? So a lot of times when we make resolutions, they're not real resolutions. And when we make our resolutions, we're not thinking strategically about where we're trying to go in life and what we're trying to do and the totality of our life and who we are. So we need to look at these increments as milestones or stepping stones to get us to where we're trying to go in the full spectrum of our life. Now, what does that have to do with overcoming sickness and disease? Because that's what this channel is about. Well, everything on this channel is really life help, but it definitely does pertain and is very helpful if you're going through chronic illness, sickness, and disease. Because people who aren't going through things, they may have a little room to mess up and screw up and play around and waste time. But when you are dealing with sickness, disease, illness, you are very much aware of the fragility of life and how temporary life is. And so all of a sudden, things have a lot more importance to you, and you're able to weed out the fluff from the real, right? And so that's why these time increments for us is highly important, because there's a sense of purpose that you have to have in order to endure the things that we endure with health issues. In order to endure and live your best life now, you have to have a sense of purpose when you're facing life or death situations. You have to have a sense of purpose, right? When everything is being thrown at you and you got to tell your body, get up anyway, right? And so we have to live with a sense of purpose. And if we're living with a sense of purpose, that means we ain't living all willy-nilly. We're very strategic in our energy management, strategic in how we live our lives and the things that we do. And so therefore those time cycles, the 24 hours, right? The weeks, the months, the years, the decades, all of that become important to us. And in order for our lives to have meaning and purpose on this earth, we have to know what we want our life story to be. We don't need to know all the details, right? But we do need to know what we want our legacy to be. And I'm not talking about financial legacy. I'm not talking about, fluff. I'm talking about, if the Bible was written today, what you wanted to be able to say about you, right? You may not know the exact story. You may know your story, because that's what it is, right? But what you want the Bible to say about you and your story right now, right? That you just cowered up, crawled up, and died when somebody told you something was wrong with your health. Or that, you stood strong and you lived and your life was still effective and had very great impact in the middle of everything you went through. That your life and your walk shine so brightly and encouraged other people and help other people in their own situations in their life, right? So you have to think about these kind of things. And when you think about what you want your end story to be, then you have to strategize on how you're going to get there. And those strategies on how you're going to get there tells you how you're going to walk and how you're going to make your decisions today. It will really help you free up a lot of stuff when it comes to making decisions in life on what you will not do, will not go, who you will befriend and who you won't. It'll help you out a lot in that, right? And so, excuse me. And so you need to think about that. When you think about that, then back up and come to where you are now. So when you look at the whole year and you start making resolutions for the year, you think about where you want to go. Because when you're looking at your life scope, you're not going to be able to do all of that in 1 year, right? So things will transcend the years, but you know the steps that you need to be taking to get towards that way. Okay? So you look at it in the year cycle, in the full scope of my life this year, I need to try to make these steps to get to where I'm trying to go in the full cycle of my life. And then you break that year down, right? And that will help you to tell you what you need to be doing every day, throughout that week, throughout that month, because we look at year goals, but we need to break them down, right? So what are you trying to accomplish in this month to help step you towards that year goal? And if I'm looking at what I'm accomplishing in this month to help me to step towards that year goal, right? Or that quarterly goal, then I go, okay, well, let me break that down. So if you look at the year in quarters, then you know what you need to do in this 3 months, right? To get to your yearly goal, right? So then when you're looking at, okay, I need to accomplish this in these 3 months, or be moving in this direction, not necessarily accomplishing, but moving towards this in these 3 months. Then you say, okay, in these 3 months, if I want to get this done, then in this month, I need to be trying to move in this direction so that I can be here by that 3rd month. Do you got that? And then if you're looking at it in the cycle of that month, then you need to look at, what do I need to be accomplishing in the weeks down to the days? And that will help you. That will help you a lot Now, when we're talking about all this other stuff, since this is trying to help you to live and overcome sickness and disease, let's talk about your health, right? You want less flare-ups. You want less hospitalizations. You don't want to be bedridden for so many months or whatever out of the year, right? You want to get off the medications. You want to lose some weight. You need to be stronger. You're tired of being weak. Whatever it is that you need and you want in your life, right? Then you need to bust it down to that'll help you to tell you what you need to do on those daily things. So if you found out that, you know what, I no longer want to spend this time in this bed, I'm tired of these hospitalizations, I'm tired of these shots, these medications, I'm tired of this stuff, I don't want to deal with this stuff no more. So instead of quitting in life, you look at that stuff and say, okay, so what caused this flare up, right? Because I want less flare ups. I can't control all the flare ups, but there's some things that I know that I can do to induce a flare up, right? So then you look at it and say, so then I need to stop eating this. I need to stop wearing that. I'm allergic to that. Or I need to stop whatever it is that you need to stop doing, right? Or whatever it is that you need to start doing. And then that'll help you bust it down for your day. So when you're coming up on your day or your week and you're trying to do your menu, right? You're not going to stop and put all these crazy things on there because you know those crazy things are going to mess you up. You're going to stop buying the stuff and putting it in the house. It will help you organize your day. That will help you for your week. That will help you for your month. That'll help you for your quarter. That'll help you for your year. That'll help you for your life. So you got to be strategic. Strategic, y'all. There's some things in 2022 that we went through. It was because we did it to ourselves. There's some good things that we experienced in 2022. It's because the work that we put in and things that we did that we reaped that good harvest. And there were some bad things that we had been doing before 2022 or in 22 that, you know what, we had to live it out in 2022 and we didn't like it, but we did it to ourselves. So in 2023, your strategy, one strategy you should be, you know what, I'm going to have more of the good and less of the bad. And so that helps you to say, in order to get more of the good and less of the bad, I have to keep doing these things to produce the good. And I need to avoid these things to not have the bad, to either get rid of it and eliminate it out of my life or to lessen it, right? So you need to look at those time cycles and the fullness and the totality of your life to help progress you and move you towards your goals, right? Because you could be doing really good this month and then you can lit up on everything next month. And then the month after that, you don't know why you in a bad place because you stopped moving towards your goals, right? So let's start doing the things that we need to do and not just look at the year real big because you can get lost in that year. You can start sagging in the middle. You can start off running good at the beginning, get tired and start sagging in the middle. And then at the end, you dragging, trying to make it, or you trying to catch up for the times you was dragging at the end of the year. Instead, let's be consistent. And a way to get that consistency is look at the end of where you want to be. And then let's start breaking down our year to the things that we need to do to help us to get there. You know, if you look back on an old video, I was talking about holding on. And there was a time when I didn't want to live no more. I was in a bad struggle. I was struggling to breathe, right? And I would just stop breathing. And my husband would have to just sit and watch me. And I wouldn't know I stopped breathing. And my eyes could be sitting there open. I can be up and I just stopped breathing. And I didn't know I stopped breathing. And my husband would just start praying for me and speaking life into me and doing things to get me to breathe. And I remember telling him, I'm in so much pain and agony, and this is 24/7, and it's been so long. And I'm in a struggle just to breathe. And I didn't want to be here no more. And I remember my husband would look at me and he would say, just hang on, right? He had to break down the day. Because there was a time he would say, just hang on one more day. Can you just go one more day for me? And then I had to tell him one day, I was like, I don't think I can do another day. So he started breaking stuff down, time increments, right? So he would say, just give me half a day. Just give me 4 hours. Can you hang on? Just till lunch. And then I remember I was like, and then at lunchtime he said, hang on, just till tonight, right? Just give me 4 more hours. And I remember I was telling him, I can't do that no more. I'm struggling to try to make it. I don't think I can do 4 more hours. So he started breaking that thing down. Can you give me 1 more hour? And when I couldn't give him 1 more hour, He said, okay, just give me 30 minutes. And he would just sit there, just give me 15 minutes. Tammy, just give me 15 more minutes. And I struggle and fight for those 15 minutes. He said, give me 15 more. And that's what we did. So I went through bad, y'all. I was in the hospital for like 6 months. Don't remember a lot of it. I was unconscious a lot of it. I went through a lot, and it was touch and go. It was touch and go. And I did have to be brought back during those 6 months a couple times, right? But you know what? He told me to keep hanging on and not give up, and I'm still here years later. So we had to break down, right? 24 hours was too much. So sometimes you got to break down your time increments to get to what you got to get through, to do what you got to do, or to get to what you got to get to. Sometimes, I think some of the most encouraging speeches come from the Rocky movies, right? Balboa has some really good ones. But in Creed 1, right? So Creed was in the ring, Rocky was his trainer. And he was in the ring, and he had the sparring partner there, and they had the little things tied around him, and they was punching, right? And you know what they was saying? One step at a time, one punch at a time, one round at a time. That's what those time cycles are for us. It's one step at a time, one punch at a time, one round at a time. You got to break it down sometime into bite-sized pieces, because if you're just looking at the year, it can get overwhelming and you can get lost. So sometimes you got to break it down to make sure you keep moving in the direction you want to go, so that you can get the result that you want to get. Now, I want to tell you something else, and we're going to end this because it's longer than I want it to be. You've got to, in your strategizing and in your planning, right? You've got to know that life is going to happen. The unexpected is going to happen. It will come. Okay? No matter how much you plan, you can't throw a fit if something don't go the way that you want to do because it ain't on your list and you didn't strategize and plan for that. You got to know it's going to happen. And some things are going to change. Sometimes you can plan something and you might have to say, you know what, I thought I was going to get there this way, but that ain't the way. I got to let that go. It's okay. Let it go. You do better to let it go than to keep trying to hang on to it. I'm trying to tell you. You're going to have to hear me on that. Okay? But life is going to happen to you, and you can't plan for all of that. Part of your strategy and your plan needs to be to leave room for life to happen. And when life happens, y'all know, y'all hear me say it all the time, you got to be able to pivot. First of all, you got to keep your head on the swivel because you know it's going to come. So you got to be able to be aware. And then when it comes, you got to be able to shift. You got to be able to call an audible. You know, a good quarterback in football, they might huddle, they might call a play, but a really good quarterback can, on the line, when it's time to implement the play, can look at the defense and see that this offense we called ain't going to work and change the play right when they're on the line. You got to be able to call an audible and change a play sometimes in the moment, because the unexpected is going to happen. So plan for that. And when it happens, go with the flow and do what you got to do to make it through the unexpected. But don't let it throw you off who you are, where you're trying to go, or the full spectrum of your life. The other thing I want to share with you is this. If you get off track, say you're trying to eat right because you want less flare-ups, you need less hospitalizations, less issues, you just won't get better. Forget the bad. I'm just trying to live my best life and get better. I need strength. I need energy. I need to eat right. Right? And say you fall off the wagon. That happens, right? And especially around them holidays, and it's like, look, I'm just going to throw down right now. And sometimes you can throw down once and put it up. And sometimes, well, it's a couple months and you find yourself, you know what, I've been off this wagon for a while. One of the things you have to learn in life is you're not starting over from zero. Oh man, now I got to start over for zero. No, you just get right back on track. The totality of where you're trying to go in your life, it's not a start, stop. If you mess up, now you got to go back. This is not a, go to jail directly to jail, do not pass go. Oh, now I got to go back to step one. You don't always have to go back to step one. Why not just go get back on track? Pick up where you left off. Get right back where you were. Because if you're always starting over at step one, that's going to wear you out. And it's going to make you apt to want to give up. So just get back on track. You screw up, repent, forgive yourself, and start doing right and get back on track. And don't look down or feel down on yourself. So hope something in there was helpful for you. I hope you have a blessed new year. Till next time, remember, in all things, do you. Bye.